When it comes to becoming wealthy, when it comes to becoming rich, people think that it's this super complex formula that they can't figure out. Like it's a safe that's super hard to actually crack the code. But that's the furthest from the truth. Because in today's video, I'm going to be going over 10 different ways that are effective that you can actually become wealthy. It's super simple. Follow these rules and there's no doubt in my mind that you can also become wealthy. If you don't use all of these, that's okay, because there's many different paths to becoming wealthy. There's luck, there's inheritance, there's working hard and trading your time, there's investing, there's all these different ways that you become wealthy. But this is a proven strategy that the ordinary average Joe that does not come from wealth can follow and become wealthy. So stick around because all 10 of these are super important. And if you follow them, you can become wealthy too. So the number one thing that you can do to become wealthy is to avoid debt. You have to avoid debt. If you start getting yourself in debt, if you start getting yourself personal loans with high interest rates, credit card debt, student loans that are super high, maybe it's car payments, auto loans, all these different types of debts that will absolutely destroy your wealth and work against you, then that is not okay. You see, there's good debt and there's bad debt. I agree that there is good debt. A mortgage is a good debt. Student loans can be a good debt as long as you're getting an investment in yourself to be able to go and make more money in the future. You have to get a degree that is worthwhile. You have to get certifications if you're investing in yourself that will actually produce a return where you can pay those off and then make more money in the long run. That is a good debt. Real estate is a good debt because you're actually building equity. You have an asset that is actually building money for you every single year and over the long haul. Now, personal loans, that's not a good debt because that means that you're probably going to have a higher rate. If it's for a good cause, maybe. But other than that, no. Auto loans, if it's a low rate, okay, I get it. But if it's a high rate, horrible, because that means your money could be working for you and instead compound interest is actually working against you. You have credit card debt. Credit card debt is the worst debt because it's so high. Most people that have credit card debt, it's 20, 30. I've even seen 38% credit card debt, which is absolutely insane. And people will say, but I get 5% cash back. Who cares if you get 5% or 3% cash back on certain categories when you're paying in 28% and you're making a monthly minimum payment? Guess what? Last time I checked, 3% was a lot less than 28%. So you might be getting that 3% or that 5%, but the credit card companies know what they're doing, and that's why majority of people lose and majority are not credit card people. So if you want to actually build wealth, you want the interest to work for you. Whenever you're investing, you're getting a return. Even if you have your money in a high yield savings account where you're getting a simple 4 to 5% return, that is much better than having to pay in on a loan, on a personal loan, on debt, on credit card debt, whatever it is. So step one to becoming wealthy is avoid consumer debt. And if you are in debt, if you do go into debt, make sure it's something you're getting a return on, like a mortgage, like a student loan that can actually give you money in the future. The second thing you need to know, if you want to become wealthy yourself, you need to know your income and you need to know your expenses. It's a super basic term. It's called making a budget. You need to make a budget. You need to track your money and know where it's going, because every dollar that you spend on something that is not a need that you actually need in order to survive, or saving/investing, is actually probably going towards something that you could be putting towards a better return on. Maybe it's going to get coffee. Yeah, coffee is nice. It's fun to drink. It makes you wake up. Maybe it's like a reward. Cool. If that is what you want to spend your money on, a lot of people that spend a lot of money on coffee, especially when they don't have a lot in the first place, probably aren't going to have a lot of money in the future because you're willing to spend $7, $8, $9, $10 on a single cup of coffee instead of going and buying a stock, instead of investing that money into a Roth, instead of putting that money towards your 401k or a house or something that's actually going to get you a return. So you need to know your income and you need to know your expenses. If you do not know how to do that, I will make a video right here. I'll put this video right here. It's how to create a budget. It's the 50-30-20 budget rules. It's 50% on your needs, 30% on your wants and 20% towards your savings and investing. And if you really want to be conservative, if you really want to get towards that retirement, have that wealth, then you're going to actually move those numbers in that want category. That's 30% is actually going to go down, and you're actually going to move more money towards that savings. If you can limit your expenses, whatever you need to survive, you have that number, you calculate it, and then you look at your income and there's a massive gap, or at least you're positive, that means you can actually save and invest. If there's not, you need to cut expenses. You need to cut going out to eat. You need to cut on the Uber Eats. You need to cut on the DoorDash. You need to cut all these different subscriptions that you have in order to actually be able to save and invest so you can have compound interest working for you now instead of waiting, because the longer you wait, the less compound interest can work for you, the less that snowball can actually roll down the hill to work for you. The third thing that you need to do to become wealthy and rich is to take advantage of your 401k. I know some people will say, stay away from a 401k because it locks your money up. Well, sometimes that's what people need. Sometimes people need to lock their money away so that they don't have access to it because they're not disciplined. They don't have enough self-discipline to actually save and invest for themselves. And a 401k usually has an employer match. And so I always think as long as you are matching what your employer is actually going to match, then I think that's the perfect way to invest in a 401k. You probably don't need to go more than that. You probably don't need to go less than that. Take the 100% match that your employer is already offering you, because you're not going to get a return like that instantly anywhere else in the market. So number 3, make sure you're maxing out your 401k to what your employer is actually going to match so you can take advantage of that 100% return instantly. So the fourth thing you can do in order to make yourself wealthy or rich, especially faster, and actually achieve those goals so that you can stand out unlike anyone else, is to actually invest in a Roth IRA. So a Roth IRA is actually post-tax dollars. Unlike the third thing I told you, which was a 401k, that's pre-tax dollars. A Roth IRA, you're taking post-tax dollars and letting it grow in a brokerage account that you're investing in so that it's growing, but the kicker is that whenever you do pull it out, it's tax-free because you already technically paid the taxes when you got your money from your paycheck. So now you have tax-free growth investment, which is awesome. So now you have your 401k that you're getting your match on. Now you have a Roth IRA that's also building tax-free so that whenever you do get to retirement, you have both accounts. One's tax-free and one you had all that match from your employer, which is awesome. So make sure the fourth thing you do. The fifth thing, buy assets and not liabilities. So when you buy a liability, it's things that are actually going to lose you money in the long haul. So that's cars, that's, all the fun toys, the clothes, all that good stuff. If it's not an investment to where you can actually get a return on it, it's basically a liability. Assets are going to be like your house. Real assets, businesses, those are assets. Digital products that you make, whatever it is, those are assets that are working for you and not against you. So make sure you're buying assets so that something is working for you and bringing you in money instead of having to pay out all the time on a liability to fix things. It's just a waste of money. And so you want to have your dollar working for you instead of paying out every single month. The sixth thing, don't let lifestyle inflation creep up on you, because it's super easy to start budgeting, to have your income and your expenses and make sure you're investing and do all these good things right. And then all of a sudden you get a raise at your job or you get a promotion, whatever it is, and you start making more money and then you start spending more money because that's what people do. You start making more money, so you spend more money naturally. It's a natural thing. It's just that's not what you want to do, because that extra money that you're making now from a raise, from a promotion, from a different job, whatever it is, that could be going towards an investment account. That could be going towards your Roth. That could be going in towards your stock. That could be going towards real estate. That could be going towards buying assets and not liabilities. That money can work for you. And the perfect thing is if you do get a promotion or you do get a raise, it doesn't affect your finances because you already have a budget set on a flat number. You already have a budget. You don't need to add that extra income to your income, if that makes sense. You don't need to take that money and say, well, now I have an extra $1,000 every single month, so I can spend that extra $1,000 because all my bills are paid, and now I can just go and have fun with this extra $1,000. The smart thing would be to buy assets or invest that money so that you get to grow that snowball faster and faster, and then compound interest works faster and faster to where you have more money. That's how you get more wealthy. And that is one of the best ways that you can become wealthy, is to keep lifestyle inflation flat and do not let it get out of control, because it will happen when you start making more money. You want to spend more money. The seventh thing that you can do, don't be impulsive. Do not make impulsive decisions. It's very easy where lifestyle inflation and impulsiveness can absolutely destroy your wealth because, like I said, you start making this money. Now all of a sudden you go out and you can just buy it whenever you want because you have extra cash flow. Impulsive decisions will absolutely destroy your wealth. It's like going to the grocery store when you're hungry. They say don't do that because then you'll be walking down the aisles and you're like, ooh, those Oreos look good. Those cookies look good. That ice cream looks good. Because you're hungry, you would eat everything. But if you went while you're full and you have a list of your groceries, you just go and get your groceries because like food doesn't really sound good at that time. So you're just going to go get what you actually need and not what you want. So that's one way. If you want to make money, if you want to be wealthy, it's to don't be impulsive. You don't need to walk into Target. You don't need to walk into Walmart. You don't need to walk into Foot Locker. Wherever it is that you're going and you see something that you want right now, you don't need to instantly say, I'm going to buy that. No, if you want to buy that, how about you set some money to the side and almost make a payment plan towards yourself to where you do go buy that and it doesn't change your finances at all. Or maybe you want that, but you need to walk away. Walk away and see if you're still thinking about that in 2 hours. See if you're still thinking about that in 3 hours. If you are, maybe you do need to go buy it. But there's actually psychology in this. There's a science to it, is that when people want something, yeah, they want the product, but they actually get a high from buying the product. That's actually where they like it, is whenever they're actually buying the product. Eventually that wears out, that wears off, and yeah, you still might be excited about the product, but you're not as excited about right when you first bought it. And so that's the impulsiveness, that's the psychology behind it, is people want that high. It's a super big high. They're like, ooh, I got that, that's mine. I just bought that. I can't believe I just bought this PS5, or I just bought these sneakers, or I just bought this bag, or whatever it is. People get a high off that and they like that high feeling. That's why people like to go shopping. You know, I'm different because I don't like seeing the bank account go down. That makes me like, oh, I do not like seeing that red. I don't like seeing the negative. I don't like any of that. So to me, I'm like, I don't get a high off buying something. I really get like ashamed. I'm like, I don't want to buy that because then I'm just going to have less money. But other people, they're like, I want to go shopping, and they go and spend hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars on stuff. And it's that high that they're getting. They're feeling a super adrenaline rush from actually going and buying something. And so try to avoid that feeling. And like I said, if you're still thinking about it, maybe 20, 30 minutes later, then maybe, yeah, go buy it. But until then, do not be impulsive. Do not let lifestyle inflation creep in and allow you to be impulsive, to actually set financial goals. When you want to be wealthy, you have financial goals, whether that be saving goals, investing goals, maybe your goal is to max out your Roth IRA. Okay, how do you do that? Well, the max limit is basically about $7,000 per year. It's actually a little bit less than that, but it's about $7,000 per year. So how do I get that? Well, you just take $7,000 and divide it maybe by the number of paychecks that you have, or maybe by the months, or whatever it is. And then you take that money that you have, that number, and you invest it every single paycheck or month, or whatever it is that you just calculated. So you want to be able to have financial goals, set time goals, set time specific goals, and create a system that makes it to where it's super easy to invest for you, or super easy for you to reach those goals. Maybe it's I want to go on vacation, but I don't want to have to use a credit card to actually go on vacation. Okay, take that vacation, the total amount that you want to spend. Maybe it's $3,000 or $4,000, and then just divide it however long you have until you want to go on vacation, and make sure you're paying yourself in an account for that. You're saving for that, so that in the end, you're not spending interest on a vacation, or you're not spending interest on shopping, or you're not spending interest on something that you could just pay yourself now. So if you just create a goal, a time-specific goal, it will go a long way to create a system, automate it, try to make it as seamlessly as possible so that you can save and invest for yourself. To continue to invest in yourself. Don't get stagnant. Don't get so greedy and stingy with your money that you're just hoarding it and putting it under a mattress, because not only will inflation eat that money up, but you want to be able to continue to grow, continue to learn. Maybe it's getting into a business. Maybe it's starting a YouTube channel. Maybe it's investing in yourself in a certification. Maybe it's, going back to class to get a degree. Maybe it's whatever it is, just keep growing, keep learning. You do not want to get stagnant and stay at the same level forever, because you're not learning that way. You're not growing as an individual. You're not growing as a person. You're not creating new relationships if you're just going to get stingy and sit in a closet and hide your money. So make sure you're still actually investing in yourself. And that actually leads me to another good point. It's generosity. Be generous to people. Maybe it's about having a mentor and you appreciate this mentor, so you want to go get lunch with him. You can talk to him. You guys can be completely open with each other, and maybe you just pay for his meal. Maybe you just get a friend that you want to be able to talk, build a relationship with, where you can just talk to them about your relationship with Christ, or talk about your wife, or talk about your spouse, or talk about your family. You can be completely open while actually, bringing up these discussions with people. Maybe you pay for their meal. Maybe you pay for their coffee. That's being generous. Going to church, you're tithing, and then maybe it's, hey, we need people to sponsor these kids for Christmas. Do it. Be generous, because being generous can go a long way. You don't want to be stingy with your money. You want to save, you want to invest, but also if you have the means, if you can actually invest in other people, if you can love God, love people, and then follow Jesus, that's the best way to do it. And so make sure you're being generous while at the same time growing and investing and not getting stagnant. Continue to learn, continue to follow God, continue with your faith, and lead other people there at the same time. That's what we are. We're disciples. So by being generous, you can try to lead others, towards Jesus at the same time. And so that's 10 things. That is 10 things that can actually make you wealthy. If you follow these 10 things, like staying out of debt, investing in yourself, have a Roth, have a 401k, continue to buy assets, not liabilities, don't be impulsive, like all these different things that I just went over, these 10 things that I just went over. If you're doing this, you know your expenses, you have a budget, you're tracking every dollar, you can become wealthy. It's really not a super complex formula. Maybe you have to make more money, and guess what? If you have to make more money in order to go be a millionaire, be wealthy, be rich, guess what? That means growing and investing in yourself. Good debt is good debt. If you can invest in yourself and get a return out of that in the long run, that's a good debt. If you can make money and then all of a sudden now you have extra income to where it outweighs your expenses, you can invest that. It's a big cycle. The faster you can do it, the better it is, because time works so much for you and it works so much against you if you're not getting in now. And so if you like this video, comment down below, what is your favorite one of these 10 things? What do you need to work on the most? I don't know. Just tell me down below if you can't or you don't know how to do something, and I will make something for you. I will make a video, or I will comment towards you, or I can even make a PDF, because I have breaking news for this channel. I'm about to start posting so many PDFs, so many workbooks, so many everything that you guys can get access to through a link that I will be sharing in the near future. So like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so that you know when I do post videos. And remember, guys, you can do all things through him that give you strength. Peace.